There's a molecule sitting in your body right now that your immune system doesn't recognize as you, and you put it there by eating red meat. That's not a metaphor. That's a documented biological process, and it's one of the stranger corners of aging science that almost nobody in this space has talked about. But we're getting there. Here's what this video actually is. A list of everyday foods and habits that are accelerating your cellular aging. Not because of the obvious stuff like processed junk and too much sugar, but because of specific mechanisms that most diet content completely skips over. And one of them has nothing to do with what you eat. It's about how you cook it. I'll get to that because it changes everything. There are 7 things on this list. The last one is the one almost nobody realizes they're doing, and it's probably the one that applies to the most people watching this. Keep that in mind as we go. Let's start with something that sounds like a normal fact, but actually isn't. Researchers at UCSF calculated that daily consumption of a 20-ounce soda was associated with 4.6 years of additional biological aging, and the effect on telomere length was comparable to the effect of smoking. Most videos say sugar ages you and move on, but nobody puts a number on it. 4.6 years from one soda a day. And the way they measured this wasn't vague. Telomeres, the protective units of DNA that cap the ends of chromosomes in cells, were shorter in the white blood cells of people who reported drinking more soda. Telomere length is one of the closest proxies we have for biological age, and short telomeres have been associated with the development of chronic diseases of aging, including heart disease, diabetes, and some types of cancer. Here's where it gets interesting though. The same research team did not find a corresponding link between shorter telomeres and the drinking of fruit juices or diet sodas. So it's not soda as a category. It's not even carbonation. It seems to be the fructose load from sugar-sweetened drinks specifically. That distinction matters if you're trying to make actual changes. Now, the red meat thing. This is the one I mentioned at the top, and I want to make sure you actually hear this because it's genuinely strange. NEU5GC, a type of sialic acid, is not synthesized in the human body due to a human lineage-specific genetic mutation. We lost the ability to make it roughly 2 million years ago. But the likely explanation for why it still shows up in human tissue is metabolic incorporation from dietary sources, especially red meat of mammalian origin. And this incorporated NEU5GC appears to be the first example of a xeno-autoantigen, against which varying levels of antibodies are present in all humans. So your body eats the red meat, absorbs this molecule, and then your immune system, which doesn't recognize it as you, starts reacting to your own tissue. The resulting chronic inflammation, called xenocoelitis, may have important implications in conditions known to be aggravated by consumption of red meat. Be honest, did you know your immune system could be quietly fighting your own cells because of something you ate last Tuesday? Most people don't. And the research connecting this to cardiovascular disease, cancer risk, and chronic inflammation is real and documented, even if it hasn't made it into mainstream diet content yet. We're about halfway through, and I still haven't told you the one that's probably affecting you the most. Hold on. Next, cooking oil. And this one is weirder than you'd expect. Most people have heard, "Don't reheat oil," and left it there. But the actual chemistry is more unsettling than that. Oxidation in cooking oils doesn't start when you see smoke. It starts well before that, around 250 degrees Fahrenheit in some cases, with no visible warning. And what that process generates are reactive compounds called aldehydes. Specifically, molecules like malondialdehyde and 4-hydroxy-2-nonenal, which have direct links to inflammatory signaling and cellular oxidative damage. The oil looks fine. There's no smoke, and it's already producing compounds tied to the biological processes that accelerate aging. The thing you'd use to tell yourself it's okay to keep cooking is the exact thing that isn't there. Now, here's the one almost nobody realizes they're doing. And it's the cooking method thing, but not in the direction you think. Dry heat promotes new dietary advanced glycation end product formation by more than 10 to 100-fold above the uncooked state across food categories. Advanced Glycation End Products, AGEs, are compounds that form when proteins or fats combine with sugars under heat, and they're formed through the non-enzymatic Maillard reaction and are central drivers of age-related decline, perpetuating chronic inflammation and oxidative damage. Here's the part that matters. Cooking methods like boiling and steaming generate low amounts of AGEs, while baking and grilling produce higher amounts due to higher temperatures and dry heat. So, the exact same piece of chicken, same protein, same calories, same everything, can produce dramatically different amounts of aging compounds depending entirely on how you cook it. Grilled versus steamed, baked versus poached. That's it. That's the variable most people never think about. And here's the fix, and it's almost too simple. The formation of new AGEs during cooking was significantly reduced by cooking with moist heat, using shorter cooking times, cooking at lower temperatures, and by use of acidic ingredients such as lemon juice or vinegar. Marinating your meat in something acidic before cooking, even for an hour, cuts that AGE formation substantially. That's a cheap, immediate change that almost no fitness or longevity content ever frames as an anti-aging tool. And one more thing that'll probably surprise you: microwaving. Everyone assumes it's the unhealthy option. The research actually says the opposite. Using a microwave for short cooking times does not increase AGE concentration the way broiling, grilling, baking, frying, and roasting do. The method most people feel guilty about is one of the lower AGE options available. So, here's what actually changed from the beginning of this video. It's not just what you eat. It's the molecule your body absorbs from red meat that your immune system fights. It's the 4.6 years of biological aging attached to a daily soda habit. It's the oil that's already oxidizing before you see any smoke. And most importantly, it's the cooking method, the one variable that can take the same exact meal and make it dramatically more or less damaging at a cellular level. The mega loop I opened at the start, the thing almost nobody realizes they're doing, is this. Most people are optimizing their food choices while completely ignoring the preparation. They're switching proteins, cutting carbs, reading labels, and then grilling everything at high heat in reused oil. The food changed, the damage didn't. If this landed differently than you expected, drop a comment. I'm genuinely curious whether the cooking method angle or the red meat molecule was the one that got you. And if you want to go deeper on how chronic inflammation actually ages you at the cellular level, that video is right here. Watch it next.